Hello everyone, today I'm sharing with you my second design team project for the month of August for Tresors Deluxe, and this time around I have a few smaller projects to share with you. The first items I've put together are some decorated bags, and these are just simple paper bags. Louisa actually sent these paper bags to me in a gift package, and as you can see they don't have the box bottom, but they do have the gusseted sides, so they hold they hold some nice goodies in them, but it's nice to decorate things up a bit. So we don't always get time to do these sorts of things if we're busy, so when we have a few spare moments it's nice to have them and put them aside for when you want to send somebody something. And the first three that I made, I've used the gorgeous fabric flowers from Tresors Deluxe as the main focal point. Oops. I've used the ivory, the pink and the white, and I've done the exact same thing on each one, so I'll show you the white one. Oh, that's the wind outside. It's really windy here today. The base of the bag, as you can see, I've used this gorgeous lace trim here, and I've run one piece across that way, flipped it over and run the other piece so it's sitting inside of itself. I've also used two of the tiny daisies that I cut out of one of the laces and put it down the bottom just to add a little bit of interest. And I didn't take it all the way to the top because the top will fold over like so. And what I've done is across the top I've run this beautiful dangle trim across the top of it. And what I've done, and I think I've got this idea from Lily, she used doodad flowers on hers, but I've just got a little bit of flat back pearl trim, cut the pearls off, and every so often just glued them to the little bubbles on the dangles on the lace, and I think it gives it that little bit of weight to hold it down, and it just looks interesting, doesn't it? I've used the gorgeous flower, of course. Then underneath here I've used some beautiful pearl spray that Irene sent me. Thank you, Irene. And their three bags are exactly the same, and so they will be used for a future swap or rack. The next ones I did are a more vintage style, and they're using the brown paper bags, and this is the first one. And I've used this lovely, sorry it's been in a bag waiting, I've used this lovely lace flower from Tresors Deluxe, but what I've done, I had a little bit of trim left over from one of the laces, and I've just tucked it inside there. There's the actual flower, that's the center of the flower, but I've sort of gathered up this lace and tucked it in between both of them, and I think that turned out really quite pretty. I've used the beautiful beaded trim from Tresors Deluxe across the bottom of the flap there, and then gone across it with beautiful flowers. I'll show you that lace in a moment because that's the one I used on the base of the other one. I've put a lovely just off-white kind of seam binding bow on the front there, and underneath I've just put a sheet of dictionary paper. Oh no, this one's actually psalm paper that I was sent with one of the banners. It's really beautiful. I'll put on the screen who that was from because it was a beautiful rack that she sent me, and I apologize for not knowing the name off the top of my head. And then I've put the most beautiful lace down the center of it, and I thought that's all that bag needed because it looks really pretty, and I love the beads on it too, and the weight of the beads keeps the bag shut. The next one I made is vintage style also, and I've used this beautiful lace across the top here, as you can see, and I've just folded it over, which is a nice little touch. And then I've used the beautiful pearl trim with the pearl drops, one of the satin bows off the luscious gathered lace, which I don't have any more left of now, but I will put links to all the laces and trims that I've used on these bags and things in the description box below. I've put the sandpaper once again, this lovely image that Var sent me a while ago, thank you Var, and I've gone around the edge with some, I think it's stickles, and I think it's the platinum colour. And then I've used just some little offcuts of laces that I've been using and decorated across the bottom of that bag, and I think that turned out really, really pretty. Once again, the bead helps to keep the flap shut, but it's easy enough to put a little closure as well. But as you can see, you know, that will look really lovely, filled up with a few goodies. And the last vintage style one I made is this one here. Once again, we have the sandpaper as the base. Another gorgeous image that Var sent me. Thank you, Var. The little daisy flower again that I will show you. A paper flower at the base here from Louisa. Thank you, Louisa. Some of that beautiful gold trim and some offcuts of lace from Tresors Deluxe once again. A piece of the dangle lace is down the side here just to add a little bit of balance. Another flower that Hazel sent me. Thank you, Hazel. And another from Louisa. Some offcut of that beautiful gold applique there, and this gorgeous leaf trim all across the top there, and just this little bit of mesh underneath and around the edges under the picture. I thought that was really nice. I'm really quite happy with that, and I love the blue colors in it. I think it's very pretty. So they're the bags I've made. And another thing I made was just a small easy Tussie Mussie, so I could fill it up with flowers or something like that and send it to somebody. And I've just used dictionary paper on this particular one, and I've put some offcuts of lace just cut into pieces going all around the back of it like that. On the tip I've used one of the cake decorating tips that I found at the thrift store, and somebody left a comment on that particular video and mentioned they could be used on small Tussie Mussies, and I thought that was a wonderful idea. So thank you to that person who mentioned that. I really appreciate that. It's nice to get ideas off people. Inside I've lined it with some pattern paper because, you know, we always end up with a lot of that around. When people send things, they tend to use it, and it's nice to find other uses for it. I've also made a scrunched up flower of it on the front there. I've placed a shabby rosette flower on top of that, and then in the center the beautiful gold applique flower out of the lovely Tresors trim. Another offcut at the top here, and then just lots of ribbons and trims and a bit of mesh lace. I've also put a little bit of the glass trim in there and one of the pearl drops as well, and I really like the way that turned out. It's not too big, nice size to fill with lots of little flowers or bits of, you know, delicate laces and things like that. And I really do like the way the cake decorating nib worked with it. It was just perfect. And these are nice for Christmas time too, to hang up as decorations and perhaps fill with goodies for your friends and family. So that was that project, and my last projects that I'd like to share with you is just a simple book box. Quite some time ago I found some books at the thrift store, and I think I've already used one in a project, and there were just small books like this, you know, hardcover, easy to come across, and I decided I would make a book box out of one of them. And actually Kimmy sent me a lovely box made from a hardcover book in a swap we did, and it was really lovely, and that's probably where I was inspired from because it's sat pretty close to me here. That's that little bit of glue. And so I've done pretty much the same thing. I've just covered it with some dictionary paper, as you can see. I spent some time a few weeks ago just decoupaging quite a few things with the book paper because it was easy and it was something I wanted to do at the time. At the front here I've put this gorgeous applique from Tresors Deluxe, and it's really beautiful. It's got like see-through sequins and pearls on top, and it's really very, very pretty. was a little bit long, so I had to just cut a couple of the flowers off either end. I have one of my favourite images of the lady, the Victorian lady on the front there. Once again, I've made her a lovely dress using this gorgeous, gorgeous trim from Tresors Deluxe, and I've also used a piece of the beautiful bling and put it there as an accent piece, and I really like the way that has turned out. Underneath that bling there's a little bit of the white, and that was taken from this part of the applique, because basically the applique would have been like the front of a dress or something like that, and it came down quite long. But I stopped it where this little pearl drop is here and where the closure is. On the back, I've just used one of the little flowers out of that beautiful trim that I will show you shortly. I've used some vintage lace and some mesh to tie it together. And it doesn't have anything in it at the moment because it will be a gift for somebody. But this is basically what I've done. I've used the beautiful double flower from Tresors Deluxe. It's got the little pearl drops which matches nicely with the applique on the front. And then the offcuts from the applique, I've just done a little design down the bottom here. And once again, this lovely flower. At the top here, I've left that blank because I do actually want to print something out and put it there. But I need to re-ink my printer, and so I thought, well, I'll just give you an idea. That will come off, of course, and I will have a sentiment across the front there. On this side I've got more of this mesh, and I've purposely left it shaggy around the edges because I just think it gives it a nice sort of finish. And I've got this absolutely gorgeous lace fabric that Irina, who is the Passion for Craft on YouTube, sent me with her banner. Thank you so much, Irina, and I love it because the sequins in that particular lace match the beautiful sequins on the Tresors applique on the front, and I think that's a really nice touch. Now in something like this, of course you can't put too much in. You could put some beautiful antique laces or something. You could even make a little cushion and put some nice stick pins and things like that in there, or maybe just a tiny little journal, a private journal for somebody. So I just thought it's a really nice way to use the hardcover book. The edges were just done out of some leftover packaging, so that was nice and cheap to do. So I hope you like the packaging ideas I've brought to you today. I'm very happy with how they turned out. I think they're very sweet and pretty. And it's nice sometimes to do smaller projects rather than bigger ones all the time. You know, we don't always have the time to do bigger ones, and we don't always have an idea of what to make. And so sometimes making smaller things can give you ideas for larger projects, which is often what happens. So never underestimate the smaller things that you might want to make, because they can spur you on to making other things. Okay, oh, I'll show you that lace before I go. Almost forgot. And of course, the lace with the little flowers that I've been talking about is this beautiful lace here, because of course I used it on the corset that I did. Oh goodness, that's not my children screaming, that's the children down the back. And I just used these little daisy flowers, and they're absolutely wonderful. So there we go. Thank you again for joining me today, and I do hope you like my projects, and have a lovely day. Bye-bye.